What's up, y'all? Today is the first day, and God, I think it's been like 3 years, maybe 4 years that I've put an edit out here on YouTube. If you guys have been hanging with me long enough, you know that I used to do these quite often. Every month I would do a live stream, and this is the time. I'm back. I'm doing these again. Putting some vlogs out, trying to put some techniques out there for everyone to pick up on. If you just started blowing glass and you're interested in picking up some new techniques, or if you follow my work and you're interested in seeing what goes on in the studio, you are at the right place. This is where it's going down, y'all. So stay tuned. New footage is going to be dropping soon. I'm going to try to do this more regularly. This first video, I'm prepping a honeycomb pattern. So I'm going to be showing how I break down some tubing, how I handle up and rip a small section off of a larger piece of tubing, and I'm also going to be prepping a honeycomb section. Now, this might be something that you already do. This may be something that you've seen other artists do. Everyone has their own way to do techniques. Everyone has their own way to get down on the torch. I'm not telling you that any way that you've already learned is the wrong way. Please, 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 when you watch this video, understand that this is all information for anybody to take in. There's not one way to do everything in glass. There's tons of different ways to get tons of different effects. This is how I like to do it. This is how I like to get the effects that I like to get. So stay tuned, y'all. And if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and drop a comment. Say something in the comments. Maybe start a discussion on other videos you'd like to see and other techniques you'd like to see. I hope to put out some more Lerk specific content, but I wanted to start off with a really simple prep video, just a small little honeycomb section that could get you guys started off if you're just new to glass, or if you're just new to checking out my work. Something that you could get comfortable and familiar with. A good way to test out making content again. It's been a while, so I'm jumping back in and trying to start off with something that's more simple. Nothing too crazy. I hope you all enjoy this video. So if you get a chance, stay tuned. We're about to jump over into the video right now, and I hope you all enjoy it. So I hope everyone's having a great day, great week. Great 2025 so far. We're right around the corner from 2026 already. I know it sounds crazy, but we're 6 months into the year already, and I hope to get a few more of these videos out before the year's over. So thank you all for staying with me and hanging in there. Thank you all for hanging out with me while I have developed Lerk and while I'm developing this channel again. And it's been like 4 years, y'all. So I'm back. I'm trying to get these going again. Please leave a comment for maybe a video you'd like to see or some content you'd like to see in the future. I think my next video is going to be a rundown of some tools that I use in the studio, like some very specific tools that I enjoy using that help me get the job done the way I do it. So thank you all for watching. Stay tuned, y'all. Video's about to start right now. All right, so first things first, I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I've heard that called a reel and peel. Like when I was first learning how to work with glass, an artist that showed me that had learned that from another artist, and it was handed down to him as a technique called the reel and peel. All right, so this is important here. I'm getting the color side hotter than the clear side, and I'm kind of letting the clear that's just a little less hot kind of roll into the hot color. So I clog the end with my finger, and then I'm blowing through, and I'm kind of completing that seal. All right. Now, so I don't have to do this again, we're gonna go ahead and do just a little straightening of this. So it appears as though we are pretty straight. All right, so in the next clip, I'm going to put this in the kiln and let the other side warm up. And then once it warms up, we'll break this in half. And then we can break it into smaller sections from there. All right, so we have the other side of this heated up now. We let it sit in there for maybe 10-15 minutes. Quick little wipe to get the dust off. Now I'm gonna rip off just a couple, like enough for a couple sections here. I'm gonna use some 9.5 millimeter tubing. That's 9.5 millimeter to get this side. All right, so right now I'm using some 7 mil rod, and I'm just kind of cleaning the end of this tube up. Where it was saw cut, the saw cuts tend to boil when you stick it in the flame. So it's just always good to kind of clean that up before you stick a handle on. All right, so now I'm going to handle up to the 9.5. Same way, I kind of keep the 9.5 a little cooler, but I'm like roasting the color, and it allows for the heat transfer to go up into the clear as opposed to them both being super hot. And it allows for a much cleaner weld on such a tight little handle, where you're not like over melting the clear and possibly closing that off. All right, so now I'm gonna put a band of heat in this, see what we're working with. You know, at this point you can really start to appreciate if there's like air in the tubing or inconsistencies. And we're basically just kind of running a heat base from one side to the other, which is just much more efficient and safer practice than to just jump down into the middle of the tubing. And this also allows for the tubing memory to kind of reset, because right now it's stuck in its memory. It's stuck that it was just pulled down from the furnace. So you're kind of resetting the memory on the glass by doing this, and you're able to really, again, see if there's any imperfections during the during the initial prep process. You can see if any imperfections took place. Like I can definitely see there's a small air bubble in the center of this tube, but that's okay. We can break the tubing down at that small air bubble. All right, same thing. Blow through the one side, finger on the other side, seals it up. Also, if you guys check this out, I think maybe I'll make a tool video, like what tools I use. But this tool I'm using right now is a fire-kissed tool, and they call it like a necking tool, I think. But basically, you're able to draw the material down to a much smaller size, and yeah, you can basically, it's like scoring. You can basically score the glass there as it's hardening, and then give it a little wiggle, and it just will break apart. And now you have pretty much 2 perfect openings to be able to weld a handle up to. All right, so now we are going to grab our second handle and same kind of thing. If you can, I don't know if you can appreciate it probably because the flame is so bright, but I'm kind of like closing up the green material with the blow tube. Like I'm kind of rolling the blow tube along the edge of the hot green material, and I seal it up that way. And then the radiant heat allows for the clear and the green to weld quite nicely. Alrighty, so now we're gonna break a small section off here, and I think what I'm gonna end up trying to do here is I'm gonna make a honeycomb pattern. I think that will be a cool video here. So I'm gonna take a small section of this and I'm gonna make a honeycomb pattern. Now when you do the patterns, I like to gather up some material that I know I'm gonna need. Like, think of it like you're getting the, like if it was clay, you're getting the amount of clay cut off the prep block right now that you need for the project you're working on. Alrighty, so now I've set myself up with 2 really nice sections. Obviously one's larger than the other. Sometimes I'll give it a little tap on my marber when it's cooled down enough, and it will break apart like that too, which is, it's still nice and circular and open. So we've got these 2 sections. I don't know if you can appreciate the color, but I mean, it's beautiful. It's like some sort of brown over like a shiny green. I don't know if it's stable or if it will survive the kiln, but we're gonna find out. All right, so this small section is gonna be my setup for the honeycomb pattern. You don't need too much. I could probably use less, to be honest with you. Getting it gathered up, and I like to get it to a pretty, you know, the reason why I'm kind of backing it up and gathering it up like that is I want everything to just be even. And now we're going to puff it out. I have also some clear rod prepped. This is going to be what we make the honeycomb pattern with. All right, so just to give you guys an idea of my blowing pattern there, I like to start off pretty quick with a puff and get that thing out there, and then I really don't like to get it too thin until it's cooled down. Like, the colder it is, if I can keep it not as thin when it's super hot, and then as it's cooling down, give it a couple more puffs and get it thin at that point, I start to notice that the material works better and overall looks better. But if you can get it semi-transparent at this point, like while you're laying the dots, it will 100% look cooler than if the material is thick when you're laying the dots. It's a different look, I guess. Like when you lay it thick, it looks very, there's nothing wrong with either one, but when you lay it on thicker prep work, the dots look more like sunken in and three-dimensional, and the color doesn't have really any window effect. Where on the honeycombs that I do, I really like the window effect from the honeycomb pattern being on thin tubing. So like, if you can imagine what's going on right now, you're like capturing the memory of the color, like where it got blown out to, and that memory is super like visual. It's something you can actually see, I feel like, and it's that transparency of each dot here that I'm laying that makes it even more transparent in the final product. Like the thickness of the material here that I'm laying with this dots makes the final windows even more transparent based on that thickness of these dots. We're trying not to touch them to the previous row, but we want them somewhat close to the previous row. You can do all sorts of different patterns too. Like I'm doing a very specific pattern that I tend to keep going in my work, which is just a traditional like woven honeycomb look. But some people do like straight dots all around, which looks really cool. Now if you're, I don't know if I'll get one here, but if you're pushing these dots and you start to notice you're trapping air, you're not getting the material hot enough when you lay the dots. Like you want the clear really hot. And I kind of leave those little tabs. I don't like go in there and pluck each one off. If you're just doing a warm-up and doing this as your warm-up, then you're kind of just having fun while you're making them. Like you're not taking it so serious. So the final, I didn't do one big dot in the final. I did 3 little ones. I don't necessarily like the big dot in the center. I think that the honeycomb is going to get pulled down a little bit down there, and I'll probably terminate it, and then I'll probably blow it out or pop a hole there. Like that's going to be a section. So, you know, sometimes I do that center dot, but this can fall in a weird way and the center dot might not matter. So we're getting it somewhat melted in. Give it just a little puff. And I think that this is something that is really beneficial to the overall honeycomb, is to not only bring it down slow, but try to keep it wall weight wise consistent as you're bringing it down. I'm never really letting it get too thick again as raw color. I'm kind of letting the clear fall into it at the same speed the clear is melting in. I'm kind of keeping the color around the same wall weight so that the clear is doing more of the work melting into the color than the color is just collapsing on itself. And I think that keeps these windows a little bit larger than if you were to just let it collapse. All right, y'all, my GoPro overheated, but we were able to get this set up and the end opened up nice and round for our section. I don't know if you guys can see the windowed effect of the honeycomb, but this is generally how I prep my honeycomb sections if I'm going to do them.